Hare Krishna, welcome to all devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Birth of Emperor Parikshit, Shloka number 10 and 11. Ashra Tejasva Gadaya
अस्त्रतेजः स्वगदया
Niharam Eva Gopatihi
नीहारम् इव गोपतिः
Vidamantam Sannikarshe
विधमन्तं सन्निकर्षे
Paraikshataka iti asau
पर्यक्षतक
Parre
इति असौ
Viduyat Tadame Atma
विदूय तद्
Tadame विधूय तदमे आत्मा
विधूय तद् अमेय
मैं
आत्मा
नहीं तो बोलू ऐकतो जातो भगवान धर्म गुप्त विभू तू बोले ना बच्चे
भगवान धर्म गुप विभुः
विशत दशमास अस्य
मिषत दश मास अस्य
तत्र एव अन्तः ददे हरिः
तत्र एव अन्तः दधे हरि
अश्रतेजस्व गदया
अस्त्र तेजः स्वगदया
निहारम् इव गोपतिः
निहार गोपतिः
विदमन्तं सन्निकर्षे
विधु
विदमन्तं सन्निकर्षे
विधमन्तं सन्निकर्षे
परेक्षतक इति असौ
पर्यक्षतकः इति असौ
विधूय तदमेय आत्मा
विधूय तत् अमेय आत्मा
भगवान धर्म विभुः
भगवान धर्म गुप विभुः
मिषतः दशमास अस्ते
मिषतः दशमास अस्य
तत्र एव अन्तः तदे हरिः
तत्र एवान्तः दधे हरिः
अश्रतेजस्वगतया निहारम् इव गोपति विदमन्तं सन्निकर्षे परीक्षतक इति असौ विधूयं तद् अयम् आत्मा भगवान् धर्मगुप् विभुः मिषता दशमास अस्य तत्र एव अन्तः ददे हरिः
अस्त्र तेजः स्वगदया निहारम् इव गोपतिः विधमन्तं सन्निकर्षे परेक्षतकः इति असौ विधूय तत् अमेयात्मा भगवान धर्म गुप विभुः मिषतः दशमास्य तत्र एव अन्तः दधे हरिः। कृपामयी सीता देवी माता जी, प्लीज रीड। कृपामयी सीता देवी माता जी।
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the brahmāstra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. He was observed by the child who thought about who he was. While thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead, the Supersoul of everyone, and the protector of the righteous, who stretches in all directions and who is unlimited by time and space, disappeared at once. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Child Parikshit was not observing a living being who is limited by time and space. There is a gulf of difference between the Lord and the individual living being. The Lord is mentioned herein as the supreme living being, unlimited by time and space. Every living being is limited by time and space, even though a living being is qualitatively one with the Lord. Quantitatively, there is a great difference between the supreme soul and the common individual soul. In the Bhagavad Gita, both the living beings and the supreme being are said to be all pervading. Ena sarvam idam tatam. Yet there is a difference between these two kinds of all pervasiveness. A common living being or soul can be all pervading within his own limited body, but the supreme living being is all pervading in all space and all time. A common living being cannot extend its influence over another common living being by its all pervasiveness, but the supreme supersoul, the personality of Godhead, is unlimitedly able to exert his influence over all places and all times and over all living being. And because he is all pervasive, unlimited by time and space, he can appear even within the womb of mother of child Parikshit. He is mentioned herein as the protector of the righteous. Anyone who is a surrender soul unto the supreme is righteous, and he is specifically protected by the Lord in all circumstances. The Lord is the indirect protector of the unrighteous also, for he rectifies their sins through his external potency. The Lord is mentioned herein as one who is dressed in the 10 directions. This means dressed with garments on 10 sides, up and down. He is present everywhere and can appear and disappear at his will from everywhere and anywhere. His disappearance from the sight of the child Parikshit does not mean that he appeared on the spot from any other place. He was present there, and even after his disappearance, he was there, although invisible to the eyes of the child. This material covering of the effulgent ornaments is also something like a womb of the mother nature, and we are all put into the womb by the Lord, the Father of all living beings. He is present everywhere, even in this material womb of Mother Durga, and those who are deserving can see the Lord. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांच नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा. Today we try to understand shloka number 10 and 11. Here in this shloka, both shlokas, they describe about the Lord, how observed by the child who thought about who he was when the Lord was engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the brahmāstra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. And next shloka, when observed by the child, the supreme personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone and protector of every righteous person, who stretches in all direction, unlimited by time and space. That at once disappear. How Krishna enter in the home of Uttara, and how Parikshit Maharaj saw them, and how they disappear. These two, 3 points are described in these shlokas. We try to understand in detail from
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Lord Krishna, the merciful Krishna, who is protecting his devotees, appeared in the womb of Uttara, where Parikshit Maharaj, as a child, was being tormented by the heat generated by brahmāstra. The four-handed Narayan form of Krishna, with a club in his hand, he was rotating the club so very strongly. It appeared as if it is like a falling star. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And when he was doing this, what was actually happening is the radiation of the brahmāstra was being vanquished completely. So Sud Goswami says, it seemed as if it was so powerful that engagement of the Lord, and it destroyed the radiation so easily, just like the sun evaporates the drop of dew. And this was being observed by child Parikshit Maharaj, who was surprised, who was thinking, "Oh, who is he?" He actually was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supersoul of everyone, the protector of the righteous, who has the ability to stretch in all directions, who is unlimited by time and space, and who had come to protect his devotee. And as soon as the effect of the brahmāstra was relieved, he immediately disappeared, and Parikshit Maharaj was seeing, oh, where is he? A moment ago, he was removing the radiation of brahmāstra, just like the dew was being evaporated by sun. Now we all know dew. Though dew is like a water, which is in the form of droplets. So generally it appears on thin exposed objects in the morning or evening due to condensation. So we all know that there is water vapor in the air. So when the air condenses, it becomes water droplets on the plant. And this happens when the air generally cools down at night. So as soon as we wake up in the morning, we see the beautiful dew drops on the leaves very early in the morning. Sometimes the dew drops on the lotuses in the pond. This seems so beautiful. And then we see that as the sun comes up, all those droplets, the dew, it's evaporated. And sun does not make any efforts for it. He simply appears, and automatically the dew drops are removed. Similarly, it seemed that Krishna had just appeared. He was there. And all the radiation of the brahmāstra was completely vanquished by Lord Krishna. So, this is very, very important. Vidhamantam. So, this was like the act of vanishing. And astra teja. Now, teja sometimes means brightness, but teja also means radiation. And that is what Prabhupada ji translates in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which indirectly proves that this brahmāstra was like a very, very directed nuclear weapon, whose radiation would have destroyed Parikshit Maharaj. But then, Swagadaya, Krishna, by the means of his own club, simply vanquished all those radiations. And this was being observed nearly by our Parikshit Maharaj. He was just seeing it. Oh, here is he. And then what happens is Krishna, who is Ameya Atma. Ameya Atma means he is all-pervading soul. He is Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Dharmagupa, the protector of righteousness. He is Vibhu, the Supreme. He is Dharma, Dashama Ashraya, that is, one who is dressed in all directions. So as soon as the work was done, though he had appeared and given his, what I'll say, vision to Parikshit Maharaj, he similarly immediately disappeared. He became Antah-dadhe. That is, he became out of sight. And who? Hari. So here what is important to understand is that there is a huge difference between Krishna and the individual living beings. For all practical purposes, Krishna is the supreme living being. He is unlimited by time and space. But we, the living beings, are limited by time and space. From practical aspects, being part and parcels of Krishna, we are qualitatively one with him. But quantitatively, there is a great difference. While both the living beings and the supreme being are all pervading, ena sarvamidam tatam, yet there is a difference between these two kinds of pervasiveness. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Avinashi tu tadviddhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyavyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So, it is not possible to destroy it. And it is all pervading. But still, we get limited because of being in contact with the material energy. While Krishna, because he is supreme, he is the creator of even the material energy, he is not limited by it. So, there is nothing of the material laws which can apply to Krishna. While we living beings, we are always limited. In fact, Prabhupada ji says that atomic particles of the spirit whole, they are like the molecules of the sunshine. So, when we say of sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragmental parts of Krishna, they are the atomic sparks of the rays of Krishna. And that is why they are sometimes called as Prabha, or the superior energy. So, common living being, it can be all pervading, but within the limited body. But the Supreme Krishna, the Supreme living being, is all pervading in all space and time. We, the Jiva, cannot extend the influence over another Jiva or another common living being because of our pervasiveness. But the Supreme Supersoul, Krishna, who is the personality of Godhead, is unlimitedly able to exert his influence over all places, all times, all living beings. And because he is all pervasive, because he is unlimited by time and space, he can appear even within the womb of mother of child Parikshit. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And that is what we need to understand. He appears, but why does he appear? He appears to protect, because he is the protector of the righteous. So anyone who is surrendered soul into Krishna becomes righteous. And then he is specifically protected by the Lord in all circumstances. In fact, Krishna also tells why he appears in the material world. He declares in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna says to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So in this case, Krishna was already there. And then Parikshit Maharaj, who was a devotee of Krishna, he was being tormented. And that is why he came in the womb of Uttara, and he ensured that he protected the Sadhu Purush, that is Parikshit Maharaj. He delivered the pious. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, to explain why Krishna appears, explains in Madhya Leela, 20th chapter, wherein he summarizes all the principles of incarnation. सृष्टि हेतु यही मूर्ति प्रपंचे अवतारे से ईश्वर मूर्ति अवतार नाम धारे माया अतीत पर व्योमे सबार अवस्थाने विश्वे अवतारी धरे अवतार नाम. So Kaviraj Krishnadas Goswami ji is saying the avatar or incarnation of Godhead descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of the personality of Godhead who so descends is called an incarnation or avatar. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God. When they descend to the material creation, they assume the name Avatar. Vishwe Avatari Dhare Avatar Nam. And they are coming for Shrishti. So this Krishna is always going to be with the righteous and protecting them from all dangers. And then we understand that Krishna, his some qualities are being described. How when he appeared in the womb, it was such that he was dressed in the 10 directions. Generally, we know east, west, north, south, but then overall there are 10 directions, which means he was dressed with garments even up and down. So he is present everywhere and can appear and disappear at his will from everywhere and anywhere. So when Parikshit Maharaj is seeing as a child that, oh, the protector has disappeared, it does not mean that Krishna appeared on the spot from any other place. Actually, he was there because we know Andatrastu Paramanasta. Krishna is there even in the atoms. And all the atoms have come to form the womb of the mother. So Krishna was already there. And even after his disappearance, he was there. Only thing what has happened was, initially he became, out of his causeless mercy, visible to the eyes of the child Parikshit. And then when he thought it right, he became invisible. So the material covering of the effulgent firmament is also something like a womb of the mother nature. And we are all put into the womb of the Lord, into the womb by the Lord, who is the father of all living beings. So Krishna is present everywhere. even in this material womb of Mother Durga. And those who are deserving can see the Lord. And that is why when many people ask, how do we see Krishna? The answer is very simple. When one lecture was being given to science students, they had asked this question. So to explain them, we showed them the telescope and asked them, what is this? They said, it is telescope. What is it used for? They said, it is used to see the distant objects. Good. Then they showed microscope. They asked, what is it used for? They said, it is used to see the microbes. Very good. Then they gave them the caliper. What is it used for? They said, it is used to measure the micro distances. Then they gave them the electron microscope and asked them, what is it used for? They said it is used for even looking at very minute viral structures and so on and so forth. So after all this was said, he said, okay, please take this microscope and let me know how is moon looking right now. The person was shocked. What has happened to this speaker? Oh, forget it. Jane do. Then he gave the telescope and said, okay, please tell me, are there any microbes in my hand? Now the boy who had asked question was surprised. Then they said, okay, don't worry. Take this caliper and tell me what is the volume of this milk. Now the boy became pissed off. He said, what are you saying this? You are asking me to do something which it is not used rightfully for. And the speaker immediately, that's it. So when you are saying that with telescope you cannot see the microbes, or with microscope you cannot see the stars, with a caliper you cannot measure the volume, what it means is to see something, to measure something, an appropriate instrument is required. So similarly, if you want to see Krishna, then you require the appropriate instrument, and that appropriate instrument is my beads in the bead bag, and the fuel for that is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when Prabhupada ji in the purport is stating very clearly that those who are deserving can see the Lord, what he wanted to say is we can become that deserving if we follow the sadhana appropriately, we chant appropriately, and are completely surrendered to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.